Hudson County is officially becoming a buyer's market. I wanted to address this topic before it becomes public knowledge and you start seeing it on TV. You know, in Hudson County, we've been in such a strong seller's market for such a long time that it seems kind of crazy that a buyer would have any leverage in our market. But the reality is they absolutely do in today's market. So we all knew that prices couldn't keep going on forever. But it was getting confusing when we just would think that homes were at their maximum prices, then all of a sudden we would see another record home sale, and then one after another. So it was really hard to predict when it was going to stop. I could feel it earlier in this year that things were becoming less predictable. So, we used to just put homes on the market, and even if they were overpriced, you'd get offers in the first week or so. And we started noticing in January and February that we'd have homes on the market, we'd be getting 15 to 20 showings, and we would have no offers. So at first I couldn't tell if it was just a seasonal cycle that was happening, because that happens every year, or if we were actually seeing our market change. But now that the dust has begun to settle and we can actually evaluate the data for the year so far, it's pretty clear that homes are not selling nearly as fast as they used to. So to give you an example, here's what our market looked like last year. Almost every single city in Hudson County was in the black, meaning that they had a less than 30-day supply of inventory, meaning that if nothing listed in a month, everything would be sold. Now fast forward to this year, and you can see a lot of the cities are in the red. So some of them are almost at a 60 days on market supply, and that's obviously unhealthy. We've gotten to a point where demand is not as high as the supply anymore. And when that happens, naturally, it shifts back towards a buyer's market. So in order to give all my clients an advantage in a changing market, I spent a full month reading every single real estate news article I could get my hands on, reading and sorting through all of the data, and I even went to a bunch of open houses that weren't even mine and started asking buyers questions about where their heads were at and what they really thought about the market. So after reading all the articles, going through all the data, talking to a bunch of buyers, here what I believe are the top 3 reasons why we're seeing a shift towards the buyers. Number 1 is tax reform. When the tax codes changed this year, it took away the buyer that was buying real estate for the advantages of itemizing their interest and taxes. It's actually more advantageous for a lot of married folks to just take the standard deduction, and they end up paying less taxes than they would if they itemized. So that kind of hurt that sector of the market. Number 2 is interest rates. Now for 7 quarters in a row, interest rates have gone up, and it's really starting to affect us now. To give you an example of what this means, for every 1% that interest rates go up, buyers lose 10% of their buying power. Essentially, the property becomes more expensive without even going up in price. So it becomes an affordability issue, and naturally, they just aren't looking at the same price point anymore. Number 3 is inventory. So we have seen a lot more inventory coming to the market this year. That's because a lot of people have decided to sell because the prices are really good. And at the same time, there's a lot of new construction homes coming to the market as well. So the two are actually in competition with one another, resale and new construction. And we have too much inventory. To be clear, this is not going to be a market crash, right? So this is just going to be a bit of a slowdown in which the pace of pricing was going up. It was going up too fast for too long to begin with. But we have had to change our strategies in order to help our sellers get their homes sold faster. So how do you win in this market, and why do I feel like this is the best time to be either a seller or a buyer? First off, if you're a seller, just know that you're not selling at the top, right? But you're selling very close to it, and you're still winning. Real estate market cycles last from 7 to 9 years historically, and we're about 8.5 years into a market cycle. So let's say it even goes up a little bit from here. We can't expect it to continue to go up forever. So just know you're getting sold at a great price no matter what, and you have an opportunity to be a strong buyer in a buyer's market, negotiate and get a great rate. Now, if you're a buyer, you should be excited. I mean, this is the first time in a very, very long time that you've had some leverage in a market. So you have the ability, for what I would recommend, to negotiate a property down 3 or 4% and also get a fantastic interest rate while they're still available. We likely will not see them this low in a very, very long time. So to give you an example of what I mean by this, so let's take a home that was priced at $750,000 with 20% down. If you bought the home in October when rates were at 3.75, you'd actually be better off paying $750,000 for that property than say 4 or 5% less for the property, because in the long run the interest accrued is going to be way more expensive. Now here's the downside of waiting for the market to go down. Let's say you purchase the home for 10% less. Well, if the interest rate's 5% or higher, you're actually going to end up with a higher payment than if you had paid full price for it in October. And over the long run, you're going to pay a lot more in interest. So I feel as a buyer, now is a great time. You find yourself in the middle. You should negotiate down 3, 4, 5% on the subject property, lock in a great interest rate. So you win up front in the price of the home, and you also win in the long run on the cost of the loan throughout its entirety. So I hope this was helpful for you. I have a full market report. There's a lot of data, too much to go over in one video. If you want that report, just send me an email or shoot me a text. I'll get it right over to you. Also, since I believe we're entering a buyer's market, I'm going to be putting together a best buy report every single week. I'm going to send you the top 5 homes that I think are a great deal in this market. So likewise, send me an email or a text and I'll put you on that list and you'll get it every single week. Once again, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll talk to you soon.